Hello again, welcome to PaintersBlock. I'm your host, Anthony Ryden, and today we will be covering the Armored Mega Gargant Kitbash and his Chainfist. Pretty fun little guy that we figured out how to do. We're going to use blood red and with a highlight of, or edge highlighting of orange, which we voted for on the poll earlier. Thank you so much for voting on that and helping me out and figuring out what to do. That really helps me out a lot. So first up, we're going to grab our oak brown. Now this is going to act as our base for our gold, our bronze, our wood, our leather, so I figured this would just be a really great way just to start the whole thing off. Now we did start off with a whole slap chop before the video. I did that on everything because personally for me it helps me actually see all of the details easier because there's so much going on, and it still adds a little bit of depth into the color even when we add other colors over it. So it's still kind of useful. So using that method, I'll put a description. I'll put a link in the description below for the slap chop video that I have out. So if you need to learn how to use it, but here's what it looks like after you put that brown all over those areas that we're gonna have as a base for brown. Brown is a great base for golds, for bones, for bronze, for leather. So that's just gonna go all over those guys. Now, next we're going to grab our desert yellow, and this is a pretty liquidy consistency, so just make sure to dab it off into a paper towel and then dab it off onto your hands. Whenever they're really liquidy, I find it actually nice to put it onto the paper towel first and then you can wipe it off on your hand to see what it's like. But here I'm just going to dry brush over, and for most of this process I'm actually going to be using the makeup brush to do dry brushing over most of these areas and making our lives easier, and I kind of like the effect of it anyways with bones and whatnot. So here we're going to just go over and get all those raised surfaces, but really bring in those midtones before we start putting some more color in. And there we have it. There's our overall look to the browns added in before, so for our undertones. So here we're going to dry brush the skeleton bone. Grabbing our makeup brush, there's a whole kit. I'll put it in the description below, a link to some makeup brushes, but these are super great for doing dry brushing. I really recommend getting yourself some. Just the way they're shaped and the hair, or the bristles that they use are just really nice for this process. So here we're just going to dry brush over those brown tones, and after the last time I did the bone, I've realized that I'd rather actually dry brush the bone over, and the last video I did on the Megalodon shark jaw, and you can see that. I'll put that in the link below as well, but I think I like this method a little bit better and it's a little bit easier. So here you can see I'm just grabbing that Wildwood, and now I'm starting to add that into areas that I wanted to get darker. So like the leather, the wood, the just in between areas of the folds of that leather. Now I'm just going to put that in here and accent my colors with just that Wildwood. Now grabbing my mummy robe, I looked at my bone and I kind of thought it needed a little bit more highlight to it. So I'm grabbing that mummy robe, I'm grabbing my makeup brush, and I'm going to dry brush this over the top of the bone as well. And here we're going to see it helps pop those raised edges a little bit more so. And don't worry about hitting those little areas that we already got brown everywhere. I'm sticking to brown tones so that we don't have to worry about overlapping that color when we put our gold over. So it's going to be nice. Now grabbing our weapon bronze from our ArmyPainter, this is going to be easy. You're just going to use, you can use this makeup brush, but I kind of messed up. This is a little too big. I should have used the smaller version of this makeup brush, but I tapped a little too far off to the side, so I had to fix my mistake later. As you can see right here, I'm like, uh-oh, there's a little bit of bronze on this leather I don't want there. But, if you like what we got going on, please leave a like, follow us here on YouTube and on Instagram. We post stuff there every day, and then hit that notification bell so you can keep up on what's going on. We're going to try to finish this Gargant pretty soon. I'm going to try to finish him tomorrow if I can, and then start posting the videos. And but I still want him to look good, so I'm going to take a little bit of time with him. Now we're just going to go over and put that bronze over on the other side as well. And as you can see, those brown tones really help with bronze. I love it with the bronze even more so than the gold. You see it more. Maybe it's just the texture of the bronze paint that ArmyPainter comes with, but it looks fabulous with that brown undertone that we've done. So once we've tapped all those raised surfaces for the bronze, we're going to move back into the Wildwood again. I really, really like Wildwood, and it's because it's a dark, kind of like a shade almost, but it's a brown, so it's going to fit with all of our undertones. Now, finding these type of undertones are great, like the deep blue contrast and the deep brown contrast are like my favorites for type of armors because they match your undertone. There you go. It's already looking pretty easy, and we just tap that over the wood and the leather again, just to hit over whatever we might have touched with the bronze, and it already fixed most of those mistakes. So now we're grabbing the greedy gold. I really like this gold from ArmyPainter. I've said it multiple times, but I'm gonna say it again. I really like it. And I'm just going to hit all of the brown areas that we've already laid out the foundation for. The brown lays a really good undertone. Ninjin likes to do this as well, and I copied him, and I really like it. It makes a much more rich gold, and creates shadow. And on top of that, I don't have to lay down the paint more than once because the brown already has a good undertone for that. So it's absolutely perfect. I really recommend, if you're gonna have to paint it twice, might as well do the brown and then the gold, because doing 2 layers of gold doesn't always do it. Sometimes. Now that we've gotten that layer done, you've only had to lay it down once with that brown underneath. It's really nice, and it makes this rich gold. We're gonna move on to our next step, which is grabbing the Baal red for the chainsaw. But before that, we're gonna grab our Bad Moon yellow and the lava orange, and we're gonna put some undertones here as well, because I want this red to be extra rich. I don't want to have it pink out on me because I have that slap chop going. So I'm just gonna be putting this yellow all over the top, and then the orange at the bottom, kind of meeting in the middle, and then I'm going to put the Baal red all over the surface, blending it all together. As you can see, it's a Bad Moon yellow is a contrast, so it's very liquidy, and you can just spread this around easily. And the lava orange is a little drier, but it's still it's actually a liquidy consistency, but it can lay down dry, so just be careful. But it's not a contrast either, but it's from ArmyPainter. And then after you got that all done and it's dried, make sure it's dry. Don't do this while it's wet still. Grab the Baal red, and now you're going to start putting this over the yellow and the orange that we've created. And this is going to create a richer red to our surface, because that yellow and that orange are going to give us a slight different tone. So the edge will be different, and the rest of it will be that yellow. So it'll give that brighter tone to our red, making more like a blood red, and or more like a bright red, something you're going to see from a distance. And you just put this all over, and just be careful. You're going to hit that gold, and it's alright, because the red is an okay tone to have with that gold. You can go over it pretty easily. So now you see I did the backside already with the lava orange, and it looks really nice with that the edge highlighting. So I'm going to show you what I did is I just grabbed my extra small brush, grabbed the lava orange, and I'm just going to start grabbing whatever light would hit, normal edge highlighting tactics that most people do. If you would like an edge highlighting tutorial, please let me know in the comments below. I'll make one for you guys. Otherwise, this is a light tutorial on how to edge highlight. You're just going to use not quite the tip, but sometimes the tip. I kind of move between the tip and then the belly. Whenever I can use the belly, I'll go over long streaks of a very hard angle, and it's really nice and fluid. But when there's smaller little edges, you kind of need to go with the tip. So just make sure you have a very sharp brush. You don't need an extra small sharp brush, but my sharpest brush is an extra small, so that's the one I'm going to use for now. There we go. It's looking pretty cool. That orange highlight is really popping, and when you're using edge highlights, you always want to try to use a brighter tone of whatever your base color is. So since our base color was red, I wanted to go orange, which is just a step higher. If I had gone orange, I'd go yellow, which I had as one of our options in the poll, which I do agree with you guys. I think the red with the orange lining was a very interesting and very cool looking chainsaw. So here we're grabbing our contrast Storm Fiend blue, or a deep blue, a contrast blue if you have one, and we're going to put this all over the blades that we've already had slap chopped, and basically this is going to create its own tones with it's going to slap chop the blue over the blade, creating a dark to light gradient with that blue, and then we're going to dry brush Gunmetal all over it. So here you can see the Gunmetal from our ArmyPainter, It's really great. It's a little bit liquidy, so be careful. I make sure to brush it off into the paper towel. Like I said, if it's liquidy consistency and you're worried about it being too liquidy, make sure to wipe it off into the paper towel. You don't have to worry about it being chalky if it's already liquidy, only if it's already a dry consistency. And here you're just going to dry brush this over those chains, and it's going to be the blades, because it's going to be really cool. It's going to go from that blue dark gradient into that silver, which is going to make it look a little bit more realistic and actually just cooler, has more going on for it. And don't worry about hitting those edges, because we're going to go over and start edge highlighting the gold with our shining silver or chrome anyways, so it's going to be nice for our gradient. And there you have it. It's looking really sharp. But we're going to make it look a little bit sharper with that shining silver. But it already looks really nice. I love that blue to metal tone, and I had to give that to Ninja. He also taught me that, and I really liked it, and I kind of copied that from him as well. I'm really enjoying it. So here I'm grabbing my shining silver, I'm just edge highlighting onto that gold, and it creates a nice pristine metal, which is just really cool. Anyways, thank you so much for coming in and spending your time with us. I'm going to be trying to finish this Armored Gargant this weekend and then pumping out these videos, so that we'll be moving on to some new projects for the holidays. But I hope you enjoyed this chainsaw. He looks pretty nice already, and you can use this on any size chainsaw. It doesn't have to be a chainsword for a Titan necessarily. It can always be a chainsaw for like a Space Marine or one of the Black Templar before he goes into battle. But there you have it. I really love this look. Thank you guys again for answering that poll and telling me that you'd like the red with the orange tint for the highlight. I love it. It's a great idea. And I'm gonna next video try to do the OSLs on the handles and do the laser on the other side, so we can finish up the weapons. Thank you so much for coming in and spending your time with me, and I hope you will come again next time, and I hope we helped you break your painter's block.